Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back. Sorry, haven't put anything out in a couple weeks. Been super busy. Today, for example, I was on house arrest. Canning tomatoes all day, couldn't do anything else. So, super busy with the family. We chilled for a few weeks. Some things went on a couple weeks ago. Just want to kind of take a break, and I'm ready to get back at it. Get going. Some of the next things we got going for the car, as everybody knows, the next steps were the BMR drag springs. We were just going to put them on in the back. We also have the BMR relocation brackets. So we'll take a quick look at those, but we're going to do one thing at a time. So we'll end up getting the car up. We're going to drop the axle, loosen the shocks. We should be able to get those springs on without removing the rear sway bar. I don't know that for sure, but I'm gonna try and I'll tell you why. What we have on there already are 2-inch lowered springs, so when I jack that car up, drop that axle down, them springs are already flopping around. It wouldn't take much to get those out, but we'll see how that goes when we get to it. We're gonna take a quick look at the car to my new viewers, and thanks, or subscribers, thanks to you guys for subscribing. Hopefully you'll like the content and what we're doing, the build, and trying to get this car hooked up. Those are some of our next steps. A lot of traction woes. Can't get this baby to get any ground yet. So we'll get a quick look at the car. We'll get going with getting the springs installed. We got the relocation bracket. We'll take a look at those. So this is it. This is a relocation bracket for the rear sway bar, and what that's going to do is allow us, it's going to move the rear sway bar out from where it is. Currently it's tucked into the wheel, and you can't get anything smaller than a 17-inch wheel. These are stainless plates, so this is going to allow us to go to a 15-inch wheel with a full-size slick. So that's what we'll end up doing if we cannot get these Mickey Thompson ET streets to hook up, ETRs. So we've had quite a bit of work done on this as far as bolt-ons. And whenever I share this information, I always forget. So forgive me if I do. We'll go through it, try and go through it one by one. We'll go from the engine, we'll start from the engine and go back to the rear suspension. So for the engine, it's your typical stuff: long tube headers, X pipe on the exhaust, Borla over the axle pipe. That's 2 3/4, it's not 3-inch, flows into GT500 mufflers. We'll talk about the rear suspension since it's on my mind. We've changed the upper control arm, Steeda lower control arm, it's billet aluminum, solid mount on the bushings. We've added a BMR relocation bracket down below. I'll get pictures of those. What else back there? I think that's it. There is a panhard bar which was already on, that was changed out. I didn't do it. It was on the car when I purchased. And then we have drag shocks. And again, drag shocks are not ideal. They're Lakewood 50/50. Vikings are the ticket because they have 18 adjustable positions, but they're also 200 for one model, and then another model step up is 275 per shock. So we're not going to go there yet unless we need it. Okay, we're going to do simple things first. We'll do the rear springs, and then if we need it, we'll do the front springs. But right now, just the rear springs. So for tire, we have a Mickey Thompson ET Street R, 17-inch. So it's 28 tall. I think it's 10.5 wide, 10.5 or 11.5, whatever size that comes in. That's what we run when we do our hits in the street, and that's what we'll use whenever we get to the track. For the engine, otherwise, we got 85mm throttle body, BBK, up from an 80. We did test a 90. Wasn't any better. It had one more peak horsepower. The 85 have more horsepower over the curve, so we stuck with that. We have a ported Boss intake. Kicked us up about 20 horsepower. We are on E85. We'll let you hear cold start. And then GLT2 cold air intake. And then the Boss R Racing Grill. We'll let you see that. Shifter wise, we got a Barton short throw shifter along with a Blowfish racing bracket. And then we did add, most important thing, I told you I forget something, the McLeod dual disc clutch and McLeod billet aluminum flywheel Ford racing drive shaft. That made a difference. In ET, I don't know, because since I made those mods, E85, Porter intake, I can't get the car hookups. So it's a 12, of course, competition orange. Take a look on the inside. It's pretty much factory stock. We got some gauges here for cold air intake, I think battery, coolant, and air fuel ratio. I don't have my end gauge plugged in. When I need to use it, I just plug it in, make the mod on it, and I pull it out and put the gauges back in. So basically, this is what the car looks like. I try and keep it clean. It's all stock, nothing's changed. It's like new on the inside. It's a nice piece. This car's just got over 13,000 miles on it, so it's still a baby. This basically, you got your BBK throttle body, JLT2, which is a much larger intake than 1. Blue matching filter, it's an oil filter, so it's cleanable. And that's it, guys. I mean, engine base relatively clean. We try and keep it clean. Honestly, I don't clean it. That's how it stayed. But again, since I bought the car, I may have put 4,000 miles on it in the last 2 years. Here's the grill. Grill looks good. And she sucks some air going down the road. I don't see any more cooling with it, but just looks good. Gives it another race appeal. All right then, guys, that's basically it. That's the car. We'll get it out, we'll get it jacked up, we'll get to working, and we'll get them springs on. We have the car up. So we jacked it up on the differential. I always put rags on my stuff so I don't scratch anything. We put jack stands right in front of the mount. It's a double overlay. It's there for support. And then I always put, again, rags on my stuff. I don't want to scratch anything up on the underside because the car is still in excellent shape. So what we're going to do now is we will loosen that shock mount, and then we'll work on dropping down the axle. Let's see how far we can get it to expand to get the spring out. All right, we have both sides of the shocks off, 15 millimeter wrench. We loosen it up there. You see that shares a bracket with the rear sway bar. So I'm not sure how the relocation bracket, you got to cut something, so I don't know if I'm going to do that. I don't like cutting on my stuff. So anyways, there's another bracket over here, holds your brake lines. 10 millimeter wrench, we get it on, we got loosened already. We're going to get this off, get them off on both sides, and then we'll take a look at dropping the axle down. When I lowered the axle, I always wondered why the damn things were flopping around. And I took them out, I'm like, dang, are these broke? There's nothing to them. So they're extremely short, as you can see. Side-by-side comparison. Stock Boss springs, rear of course. The Eibach Pro Street S springs that lowered the car 2 inches, maybe more. It's huge, look at the difference. BMR drag spring. So the difference between these two is 150 pounds per square inch dampening, and this is 250. I don't know where the stock Boss springs are at for a rating. I wonder if I could have used those. I don't know. All right, we're gonna try and get these on in the space we have. And it explains why the car wants to handle really well on those springs. On the upside, if we do need to change the front, the Eibach coilover strut we're currently using will work. I talked to the supplier, and they said they will work. You just preload them by adjusting the height, because you can drop the car 3 inches lower than stock by adjusting on your front. There's an adjustment on your strut. So if we need to do that, that's what we'll do. We'll just put the drag race springs on the same strut from Eibach, the Pro Street strut, and that will take care of that. But like I said, we're gonna try the back first, see if that works. And this is an easy change. If I can go back and forth and change these to go from road course to drag strip, it would be awesome. But we'll see how that works out. I don't know. All right, let's get back to it and see if we can get that up there. So we are going to loosen, I'm gonna call it the hanger, basically the mount to the rear sway bar that mounts to the chassis. We're gonna remove that one bolt, and that's gonna allow that to drop down with the axle. 15mm wrench takes that off. We'll do the same thing on the other side. All right, passenger side went in quite easily, and I just can't get this axle down enough to get the driver's side in. So we are going to take off the panhard bar on this side. I think that's just limiting the allowance for it to drop lower. We're going to take that off, see if we can get the axle drop down, and then hopefully we can just pop it right in. Everything's torqued back on. So we have one more thing we got to move. Lower control arm, because the springs were lower an inch and a half. We need to be in the middle mark. This is for 2 inches or more, so we need to loosen this back up, get it to the center mount, retorque it back to 129 foot-pounds, and we should be good to go. What's going on? We're in day 2 of this assembly. Took quite a while to get springs on. The driver's side was actually more difficult. I don't know why, just that axle would not drop down. Again, we had to release the panhard bar to move that axle down, and we got the spring up in there a little bit better. We did have to put a little pressure on the spring to get it in, but the passenger side dropped right in. So where we're tied up now, again, is on the lower control arms, and removing it up into the center of the bracket. I'll let you get a view. That's not hard to do. What's hard to do is that because the axle was pushed back a little bit, we had to bring it forward, which again, excuse my French, serious pain in the ass. But we managed to do that. So we got one side on, we need to torque it. I gotta do the passenger side, loosen it, get it in place, bolt it up, retorque it, and we should be good to go, but we'll give you a quick view. So you can see now we're in that center bracket, or mounting hole, I should say, on that relocation bracket. Whereas the other side, we were on the bottom one, so we have to move that side up. So that's what we're doing. And then we need to retorque those. That's 129 foot-pounds, which is really difficult to do when you're laying on the ground. No leverage. Well, this one came up relatively easy, so this is where we're at. We need to go to this hole. So we got a nylon mallet, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. We're gonna bump this up. And that looks like this side aligned perfectly where the hole is. So bingo. Let's see how that bolt goes in. Just got to get the nut on. We'll get our torque down at 129. We check everything, make sure we're all tight everywhere, and we should be in business. So this went on super easy. Driver's side was just a pain in the butt. So happy about that now, finally. There's light at the end of the tunnel. All right, we got everything on, buttoned up. Wheel studs torqued to 95. That's usually where I torque them, and then and that's what spec calls for. Everything else is torqued down. We got the road tires back on. We're gonna take some pictures to see how the car sets. We'll show some before after shots. We'll go for a cruise. We'll hit it a few times just to see what it feels like. Okay, as in, yeah. you know, pipes, plumbing, cars, whatever. There's always something goofy, right? So there's an adjustment on that rear spring mount that will screw down. So as you can see, the car's all jacked up. I mean, seriously. Shit happens, right? I hate cars sometimes. I just freaking hate them. So anyways, because I didn't put on those Ibach Pro springs, I suspected that when I took them off because they were so damn short, they adjust them all the way up. I left them the way they were just because, you know, I wasn't sure. So now I'm sure that we need to adjust them down. There's my cat. Meow. I couldn't tell you how many times I have those damn wheels on and off, guys. It's driving me insane. So we're gonna adjust them down. So we got jacked up on the front mount of the chassis of the lower control arm. So that axle's dropped all the way down. I should be able to get in there and screw that down. I'll show you what I'm talking about. There's a good view. So you can see the adjuster. It's like sitting on a pod. It's notched. That needs to be screwed all the way down. So I can't find my spander. They're called spander wrenches. I don't know what the hell happened to them. So channel locks is seems to be working. It's just going to take a little bit longer. So we're going to adjust that all the way flat now. It's night. Hell of a job. I guess you can call it labor of love, right? I don't know. Anyways, this is nuts. Got it on finally. Had to just drop the right rear shock, right sway bar on that side to get that adjusted nut all the way down. So the car still's got quite a bit of gap above the tire. So those Pro S springs from Ibach, that had to be a 3-4 inch drop, because there's still a good 2 inches showing above that wheel. I can't believe these are 1.5 inch drop. So anyways, I'm going to take it out for a cruise, see what it feels like. We're going to pretty much conclude this video. So guys, thanks for watching. Like and subscribe. Thanks to my new subscribers. And our next video is going to be a draggy. So hopefully she works for us. We'll find out. Thanks for watching. Take care.